Hello everyone, a very warm good evening to each and every one of you. My name is Rohit Golani and I'm a chartered accountant by profession. I hope everyone is doing good, everyone is safe. Okay, on behalf of Optotex, once again, I welcome all of you in our 3-day series on evolution of CA firms networking to expand your CA practices. So as I can see, our committed professionals are sharp on time, but let's wait for our other friends to join as well, because we are professionals across all over India in this family of Optotex who are associated with each other, and we are heading towards mutual empowerment of each other, right? So good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing good. To all our attendees, professionals, how are you all? Okay, moving ahead. Fine. Okay, moving ahead. Before giving this virtual stage, first to our guest of honor for his words of wisdom, and then to our faculty for today, I'll first like to know if each and every one of you are safe at your homes and are living a healthy life, because in current scenario, being healthy and safe should be your utmost priority. So keep sanitizing your hands regularly, and also don't forget to wear a mask. It is really a must. Sharaji, you're fine. Okay, I'm also fine. Okay, now is the time to kick off session 1 of 3-day series, which is brought to you by Optotex. I believe many of our professionals are already using Optotex, but for those who are new to us, we are a technology and knowledge platform. And in our 3 years of experience, we have always tried to make your GST compliance experience seamless and hassle-free in your offices. It has been engineered for your empowerment and benefit. Optotex is India's #1 and biggest GST platform. Now, we are a family of 50,000 plus tax professionals who trust Optotex for their 1 million plus clients. So I believe there is no harm giving it a try, as it is totally free and efficient. And also for all our attendees learning and growth, we recently organized valuation requirements under Income Tax, FEMA and Companies Act. This was a very successful webinar for fresh issue shares by a company. It is already available on our Optotex YouTube channel. So to all the professionals who are foreseeing their future in the field of valuation, I urge each and every one of you to please go and have a look at it. It is full of knowledge and education. If you like the content, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to hit the bell icon for regular updates on knowledgeable webinars and events coming by your way. Okay, so coming back to today's topic, which is certainly the next big thing in the field of chartered accountancy, as it can help CA firms to create pan-India presence and also will open up new opportunities for chartered accountants. It is evolution of CA firms networking to expand your practices. And our guest of honor for today's webinar is CA Abhishek Sharma ji. Many of you might already be knowing him, but it will be my really an honor to introduce him. He really has praiseworthy achievements on his shoulders. He is a regional council member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He has served as a member, Regional Advisory Committee of GST and Custom, Rajasthan. He is a ICAI faculty on foreign trade policies. He has been awarded nationally for various academic achievements. He has also delivered lectures in Hong Kong, China, Dubai, Singapore for non-resident Indians and foreign companies regarding various provisions on foreign trade policies. He also holds various degrees like MCOM, LLB, FCA, MBA, certificate courses in indirect taxes and forensic audit. Okay, so thank you so much for being part of this webinar today, sir. We are really lucky to get to hear from you today. It will be really great if you can enlighten us with any of your words of wisdom, sir. So thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rohit, one of the coordinator and director of the program, for this wonderful program, and thank you for inviting me for being part of this Optotex program. And friends, let me tell you, the topic which have been selected for this program, maybe it is a 3 days program on networking, evolution of CA firms. It's really, I tell you friends, it's a really need of the hour, right? Because nowadays everything is working globally. And the concept, online concept, which we were teaching as exception earlier before COVID, and after COVID, we all are used to it, and it's a globally accepted concept now. Now, companies are trying that their employees should always do work from home because company is saving a lot of cost for this also. So it's a new concept now which has been publicly accepted. So what I want to convey to you, friends, in this wonderful program organized by Octotex, that networking is now need of the hour. See, I'm sitting on a particular part of India, maybe on a particular part of world, and you are sitting on the other side. You are having a particular client, but you don't work in that field. So that client goes out to some other persons and will try to identify where he can get his work done. But once you have entered into networking, there is no limit. Not only in India, you can do your networking across the globe also, outside India also. So this is really a wonderful thing, and the way you understand the traditional practice is moving out from the system, and the new unconventional areas of practice are like burning like anything. Like we understand turnover limit of the GST audit, tax audit already increased. And again, since last some days, a consultation paper issued by NAFRA is getting into discussion amongst all of us, which is talking about elimination of compulsory audit of small and medium companies. So what I want to convey, friend, now this is the time to come out from the traditional practice, traditional source of work, and there are a lot of scope in the new and emerging sources. And if you network your firms with each other, then definitely you will be able to cope up with the need of the hour, and you will be able to not only survive, and you will be able to get success in your firm. If you talk about any new and different field like forensic audit is there, foreign trade policy is there, international taxations are there, like payment receivable audits are there. One new thing is coming, like it's a blockchain and cryptocurrency advisory, taxation, legal part. So lot of new fields are emerging fields are coming like anything. And the only need is just to clear and understand your own concepts, your own developments, your own knowledge. Try to involve and give a lot of time in your skills, in your ability. We, as a part of the ICI, being a regional council member, try to get organized a lot of knowledgeable programs for our members to update all of them in this pandemic time also, when there is a new normal, like when all are working from our home. So I just want to convey that now this is a crucial time, and this is a right time for this networking opportunity. And I'm quite sure while using this networking, and whole globe will be yours, and you will be able to give and provide your services across the globe. And this is the time to get a specialization. With these words, I do not want to take much of your time, and once again I'm thankful to Octotex for providing me this wonderful opportunity for being here. Thank you very much, friends. Over to you, Rohit.
Thank you so much, Abhishek sir, for your these words of wisdom. These were really wise words, and I guess these were very knowledgeable to all of our professionals today. So I hope these are very helpful to all of you to get this brief idea what networking actually is. Though Raksha ma'am will be elaborating it in detail in few moments. But okay, so now moving on, I'd like to introduce our faculty for today. She is the founder of Raksha Agarwal and Associates from Siliguri, West Bengal. She has served many renowned clients, which includes many listed companies and MNCs. She has experience in the area like virtual CFO services, startup funding and advisory, global tax restructuring, investment banking, due diligence, NBFC advisory information, litigation, and income tax matters. She has been mentor of 50,000 plus startups and students. She has spoken in multiple forums and wrote numerous articles on taxation, finance, and startup areas. She is CA Raksha Agarwal. So it is such a great pleasure, ma'am, to have such a dynamic personality like you with us today, ma'am. I and our viewers are really excited to hear from you, as you are such a experienced speaker. So we are really lucky and eager to hear from you. So first of all, thank you for being part of this webinar today. And now, before I pass it on to you, I will like to please request you if you can enlighten us with any of the opening remarks you have for this webinar. So over to you, ma'am.
First of all, I would like to thank Optotax for inviting me to this platform, and I'm really privileged to be here amongst all of you. And secondly, I would like to thank Rohit for being so kind and speaking so nicely. It's really nice to hear good words about you, and you have really elaborated much, I would say. But really, thank you so much. And regarding the opening remarks, I would say that today it is not just a webinar. It is the first step, I would say, that I as a speaker want to take, so that all the participants, all our CA who are from CA fraternity, they can come forward and they can understand this thing, and after understanding they can work and form a network, so that we will become a big 100 CA firm as well. So this is the actually concept of this whole webinar, so that we can work towards it and we can understand it at full length. And also, I would like to thank C. Abhishek Sama sir for being amongst us. And his presence would really enlighten us, as he has already done it in the previous sessions as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rohit.
Okay, so very correctly said, ma'am. So this is the first step towards the next big thing which our chartered accountants will be going to see. So I and all our professionals are really excited to begin with today's webinar. So I guess this is the right time. Audience are really excited to begin with this webinar. Good evening, Saina ji. Good evening, Nilesh ji. I hope all of you are doing good. So I won't take much of every one of yours time, and I'll just hand it over to Raksha ma'am so that we can begin today's event on networking and alliances. So over to you, ma'am, again.
Thank you so much. I'll just share my PPT.
Okay.
Rohit, is it visible?
Yes, visible.
Okay, sure. So as we know that the topic for the 3 days is networking and ICI and the evaluation of CA firms. So we'll be discussing today the first topic, what is networking, why it holds so much importance. But as we know that before understanding anything, we should first understand why we are understanding that thing. And there are multiple reasons why networking is so important in today's time. But one of the reason I would like to say is the vision which our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi has requested from us on 1st July 2017, CA Day. He has basically asked us to make 100 big Indian CA firms. He had said that there are definitely big fours, but why not there are big eights, in which either at least 4 of them are from Indian CA origin. It was a huge vision, I would say. And we as a common people, we as CAs definitely have certain sense of responsibility towards our nation, towards him. And that is the reason we should be aiming to make this a success. And this is actually not possible to make 100 big Indian CA firms with either 1 CA or 2 CAs, or maybe as a number of fact by even 10 CAs. This requires the strength of all of us, and that is actually possible only with networking. So this is the reason why we'll be discussing this today. So let me first walk you through what we will be discussing today. The first, we'll be going through the meaning of network, then the need of networking, the difference between formal and informal network, what are the benefits of networking, the various models of networking, and in the last, some frequently asked questions with regard to this presentation. Let me start with my first topic, which is what is network. Now, if I would have been addressing today to a list of participants who were purely from the computer background, then I would say certainly different definition. At that point of time, network would have meant a set of interconnected computers, peripherals, servers, wires, which are connected in such a way that it helps in data collation. And this is actually the concept of internet as well. So even that definition was correct. But today, friends, we are not talking about that network. Today, we are talking about network in terms of people, network in terms of ICAI. So let me just show you a picture first. So what do we understand by this picture? We can see that one person is trying to get in touch with another person, and that person refers it to further some other person. And this cycle goes on, and ultimately one person is able to communicate and build up a huge network. So this is the concept about networking. And I am very sure that every one of us have practically done it in some point or other in our life. We must have met someone at a social event who's totally new to us, and we must have exchanged our visiting cards with them. It may so happen that we may find some mutual synergies amongst us. That person may or may not come to us, and if they come, they may like our services. In case they like our services, what will happen, that they will refer it to someone whom they know, and this is how our network or contacts grow. So this is networking in terms of people. And talking about networking in terms of ICAI, it simply means that we will be networking only with the people who are from the CA fraternity. And this is also something we have already done. We must have met a CA who is from a different practice area, or maybe from the same practice area, but from a different local presence. And at that point of time, we have exchanged our visiting cards. So that we could work on a referral basis, or might be so that it will help that person also to grow their firm, and us also it will help us. So that is networking in terms of CA. Let me just go by the definition. So what does network means? Network means a larger structure of a group of Indian CA firms that have come together for mutual benefits by pooling resources, showcase their combined strength, and have uniform policies, technology, and collaterals, and showcase themselves as one big unit. Now, this is a simple definition, but again, to simplify it, I would like to give you an example. Let's say there is a firm A, which is from maybe Kolkata and is an expert in direct taxes. There is a firm B, which is from New Delhi and is an expert in indirect taxes. There is a firm C, which is from maybe Mumbai and is an expert in startups. And there is a firm D, which is an expert in transfer pricing and is from Bangalore. Now, these four CA firms might be they meet at a seminar of ICAI held in Pune, let's say. And they meet, they interact with each other, and they find that the expert area is different, their local presence is different. So they decide to form a network, maybe by the name ABCD. Now, what happens that now they can showcase to their clients that they are part of a network which is spread across east, west, north, and southern parts of India. And also they have expert people dealing in different parts, and those are actually the expert of their respective areas. So this is the actually the concept about network. I hope you have understood this thing, because this is the main theme of the day. Now, let us see, why do we need networking? Now, networking is something, if I would say in a simple word, we need it to grow, not just as a person, but as a professional as well. Because every person has its own limitations. Yes, we as a single person have just 24 hours. Maybe out of those 24 hours, we are working, let's say 10 days, 10 hours a day. But when four people combine together, that becomes 40 hours per day, and our strength doubles, our capabilities double. And when our capabilities double, we are able to explore more, we are able to do work in a much more broader manner. And this is actually why we need networking. Let us see the points one by one first. The first is the practice areas. Now, continuing the example of ABCD, which I have just said, now since a network is formed by the name ABCD, what happens that firm A earlier was only an expert in direct taxes, and earlier when any client of maybe startup area used to come to that firm, he had to say that it is not his domain of expertise, it is not his domain of practice, and he had to say to the client that he won't be handling this work. And ultimately the client used to go to someone and he used to lose that client. But now, since he's a part of the network ABCD, he can tell to the client that, okay, we have an expert who in startups, you can give us the work, we will get it done in the best possible manner. And he can simply get it done from the network, but but his name also remain intact, his identity also remain intact, and his client also remains his. So this is the benefit of coming into networking. The next reason why we need networking are two reasons which are interconnected. Let's say, again, continuing the example of ABCD, firm A, which has earlier its local presence only in Calcutta, after entering into networking, now it has its local presence in Delhi, Mumbai, and even in Bangalore. And these four areas are just the starting. A networking is not just for 2 firms or 3 firms or 4 firms. It is for unlimited number of firms. Yes. So this network will grow more and more, and ultimately it will help in building up a team maybe of unlimited number of CAs who are spread pan India. And therefore he can build up a team which is highly efficient and is present pan India of different domain and expertise. So this is the second reason why we need networking. The third reason is again two interconnected points, which is skill sets and people management. Now, let us understand in this way. Let's say Mr. A, who was from Calcutta in an example, he decides that he doesn't want to go to a network. He says that he has enough funding to build up his own firm in Delhi, in Mumbai, and in Bangalore. So he decides to go forward with his own firm, his own identity. He definitely builds the infrastructure. After building the infrastructure, he hires certain people over there. He brings the IT infrastructure, he brings up the clients, everything he does on his own. But one thing that becomes cumbersome for him is that he's not able to handle it on his own at a longer period of time, because the ultimate responsibility is only of A, and it is really difficult to manage all the CA firms on a own. Obviously there will be different officer in charge at different CA locations, but the ultimate responsibility will be of A. But what happens after entering into network? After entering into network, Mr. A can still be present in Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore, but he does not have to worry about the resources or the functioning of these respective places, because it is said that a captain sails his own ship, right? So is the concept of networking. You just have to worry about your own firm. You don't have to worry about different firms. So you can take the advantage of the firms which are present in different areas, but you don't have to take care about the day-to-day functioning of those firms. So this is the reason why we need networking. And the last and the most important reason is for the growth of profession. Now, we all are chartered accountants. We have this prefix CA. And because we have got this prefix from the CA fraternity, from the ICAI, we certainly have a sense of responsibility, sense of responsibility that towards ICAI that we should be working towards. Like, we have to take the name of ICAI higher and higher. And how can we do it? We can do it by scaling up our practice, by scaling up our firm name, and by following the ethics as well. And when we are doing these things, we are also taking up the name of ICAI, taking up the name of CA fraternity higher. And this is our responsibility. So this is the reason why we need networking. Now, let us understand what is a formal network and what is an informal network. Now, let me put it in a very simpler word. Anything which is not registered is informal, and anything which is registered is formal. So whenever you register a network, it becomes a formal network. And whenever you have a written documentation, it becomes a formal network. If you talk and it's just a verbal agreement, it is a part of informal network. Now, informal network is something that we all are doing, and we all have been doing since a very long time. As we have already said, we must have met certain CAs who are from different location, who are from different expertise areas, and maybe we mutually decide that I will give this work to you on a referral basis, or whenever, let's say, I am from Siliguri, I get a work from maybe Mumbai. So I will give the work of Mumbai to a person whom I have locally tied up. Maybe I'll do that. But is it given a name or is it a network? No, it is just done on an informal basis. And anything which is informal might run for a shorter period of time, but maybe in the long run, it will give rise to disputes. It will give rise to lack of understanding, and ultimately it will not function properly and it will collapse. Yes. So this is the reason why we should move towards formal network, because we know that we may write down in our visiting cards that we have presence in might be Delhi or Mumbai, or so and so places, but when we take our firm card we can see that only in one location we have a presence. So that is actually factually incorrect as well. So that is not allowed by ICAI, and a formal network is something that we should be working towards. Let us see some pointers about all of these. Firstly, the formal network is registered with ICAI. Yes, as I've already told, a formal network is something which is registered. And the registration process is again very simple. You have to file form A first, which is the name approval form. Once you get the name approved, thereafter you have to file form B, and ultimately you have there is a form C, which is only to be filed whenever there is a reconstitution of firm. That is, whenever a partner or a firm enters or a partner or a firm exits. So that is the registration process. The next thing, it is known by a single name. Now this is again a bigger disadvantage of the formal network, because when you are forming a network you have to give it a name, and that name has to be as per the regulations of ICAI, as per the rules of the ICAI. So we have to follow those rules and we have to give it a name, just like we have the firm naming guidelines. Similarly is the network or alliance naming guidelines. Okay. So we cannot name it as maybe best network or global present network. We cannot name it like that. We have to read the naming guidelines, and we have to give it a name as per the guidelines. And as we know, once we have a name, we can showcase it to our clients that we are a part of so and so network, and it will result in more understanding, more reputation. So obviously anything which has a name becomes more reputed, unlike the informal network, because in informal network there is no presence. It is just verbal agreement or verbal communication that we have with other CA partners. Okay. The next thing is, because it is written, it has a better understanding amongst all the partners, because from the day one you know what are the rules to be followed, what is the referral structure that is to be followed, how is the work to be allocated. Everything is clear from the day one, which is not so in the case of informal network. So informal network, now we can understand it is just the opposite of formal network. So in case of informal network, it is very difficult to arrive at a decision. Let's say, as I've already told, you have entered into an informal communication with maybe a person who is from Mumbai. You say that, okay, if I'll get this work from Mumbai, I'll give it to you. In maybe one or two assignments, everything was going well. But it may so happen that in the third assignment, some situation may arise which was not verbally communicated previously, and the other person might just disagree with your words. Okay. And it will be very difficult at that point of time to arrive at a mutual decision, and it will ultimately collapse. It will not function properly. Again, there is no proper management in the case of informal network, which is very deep, because every person likes to be managed on their own. They have their own CA firm. They don't want that any other person tells them that this is your rules or these are the formats that you have to follow. And therefore, there is no proper management in case of informal network. And obviously all these things leads us to a third point, which is the lack of understanding, because there is no proper understanding. Why? Because it is all verbal, there is no written communication, and there is a definitely lack of understanding amongst various points. After understanding this thing, let us finally understand what are the benefits of networking. Now, I'm sure that the participants can obviously tell one or two benefits on their own, because networking is actually very, very beneficial. We know that we as a person cannot do everything on our own, and we ultimately have to make contacts. We ultimately have to network with CA fraternity as well. And there are ample benefits when we enter actually into a formal network. Let me just give you some of the benefits, some of the pointers of networking. First is cost sharing. Now, what do we mean by cost sharing? Let's say you want to take up a software, the price of which is 1 lakh. Okay. And you do not have sufficient funds, or you do not, you're in your initial years of practice. So you do not want to incur such a high cost just to get a software. But when you get into a network, what happens that you can equally divide the cost of that software amongst the network partners. So if there are 10 network partners, the cost shall be 10,000 for one partner. Okay. And what will happen, at a minimal cost you will be able to get a high valued software, you will be getting good services of a software, and ultimately you will be able to better satisfy your clients by giving quality outputs at a very less time. Yes. So this is one of the benefits of networking. The next point we can see is knowledge sharing. Now, what do we mean by knowledge sharing? Let's continue the example of ABCD. Okay. I hope you remember ABCD. A is from Calcutta, who is an expert in direct taxes. B is from, let's say, New Delhi, who is an expert in indirect taxes. C is from Mumbai, who is an expert in startups. And D is from Bangalore, who is an expert in transfer pricing. Now, these four Indian CA firms had different expertise areas. Okay. Now, when they combine and form a network, what they can do, maybe they can form a WhatsApp group where they will be sharing regular updates about their own area of practice. Okay. The direct tax person will be sharing the direct tax updates, the GST person will be sharing the GST updates, and so on and so forth. What will happen by this process is that every person will be able to keep update of different areas of expertise by just going through that WhatsApp group daily. And this is actually one of the biggest advantage of networking. Yes, because we as professionals have one most important thing to do every day, that is to update our knowledge base. Every now and then lots of updates are coming, and in today's time we must be updated. May it be startups, may it be GST, may it be transfer pricing, or may it be any area of expertise that you want to work upon. Even in one area of expertise, there are multiple updates coming every day. And to keep track of updates of different areas of expertise, it is not possible for one person. So with the help of networking, it becomes very simple and very easy. Let us go to our third point, which is common branding and marketing. Now, let's say you have formed a network. Now, you need to also showcase it to the people that you are part of so and so network. How do you do that? Obviously, to do that, you can either make a website. Okay. You can either make a LinkedIn page. You can either make a Facebook page. But all should be obviously as per the ICI code of conduct. It should not violate the ethics. Yes. So within the ethical guidelines, there are certain rules and regulations as per the website, as per the social media, that we need to follow. And under that, we can certainly create a brand for our network. But all of these comes with a cost, because website cannot be built on free. Yes. This digital marketing cannot be done for free. Everything comes at a cost. And when you are a part of network, the cost gets simply divided amongst each of the partners. Yes. And at a very minimal cost, your branding will be done. And this is very useful for you as a personal professional as well, because if your network is getting name, you as a professional is also getting name. So that is again the benefit of networking. The fourth point that we can see is that common work procedures. Now, what do we mean by this? Let's say that PwC is a big four, we all know. So PwC has its offices in different parts of India and even globally, right? So do we ever say that PwC Bangalore is different from PwC Mumbai? PwC Bangalore has a different format. PwC Bangalore provides more quality. Do we say ever that? No. PwC as a whole has a same font style, has a same working style. So if you will either take up any service in PwC Bangalore, you will get the same set of services from PwC Mumbai. Why? Because their working style, their working procedures, their deliverable format, everything is same. And this actually helps in creating a good trust among your clients. Yes. So in terms of networking, what you can do, that you can list down a certain set of work procedures, like a certain set of format, or maybe the engagement letter. This shall be the format of the engagement letter. This shall be the working procedures. If you will do an audit, this shall be the work that you will be doing under the audit. So all these things you can establish in your common work procedures. You can circulate it amongst your network partners, and it will ultimately help your client in building trust amongst you, and they will be gaining more trust if you will have common working style. So this is one of the biggest advantage again of networking. Next is the common IT infrastructure. Now, in today's time, everything is going digital. Yes. So we know that we have been relying on physical servers much of the time, but it is high time that we should also be taking up the benefits of virtual servers, because we are working from home. Mostly people are working from home, right? And when you're working from home, the most crucial thing is the data. And if you're not able to access it, it is of no use, because we as professionals, our biggest assets is the data, and we have a duty also to keep the data of the client safe. Now, how can we get access to that data which is stored in a physical server of a computer, which is might be in our office? We don't have access to that, right? It is not possible for all of us to have access to it. So we should shift to virtual servers. And you may tell me that virtual servers are costly. Yes, definitely it is. It does not come at a much cheaper cost. But what shall be done in the case of networking? You can take up a virtual server, yes, but the cost shall be divided amongst the network partners again. So you will be getting the benefits of virtual servers as well at a very minimal cost. Okay. Now let us see the next benefit. It is common quality control procedures. Again, this point is very similar to common work procedures. What is meant by this is that, let's say, again, continuing the example of PwC, do we ever say that PwC Bangalore provides more quality output than PwC Mumbai? No, right? Because everybody has a certain quality check that must be actually fixed, and must be checked, so that the client at any point of time or at any office of PwC gets the same kind of quality output. Yes. So let's say you have a client who has a office in Delhi and in Bangalore. Okay. And you are a part of network ABCD. Now you're getting the work done from the network partners who are present in Delhi and in Bangalore. What if that the client finds that the quality that is getting from the Delhi office is much more higher than the quality that is getting from the Bangalore office? What mindset will the client have? The client will obviously believe that this is not the network, because the quality differs, and this is not actually one network. This may be two different firms which are providing me the services, and the client may have trust issues, because everybody actually wants to keep every data with one client. Yes. And when he have trust issues, he may likely to run. So in those kind of scenarios, in network, you may establish a certain quality control check that every network partners have to follow. And once every network partners follow that quality check, the client takes up the services from any of the CA firms, he will get the same quality. And again, nowhere the client will run, because the trust will always remain intact and the client will always remain yours. So this is again one of the benefits of networking, which cannot happen when you are in an informal network, because in informal networking, every firm will have a different working style. It may so happen that for your client, you may get the work done of Delhi at that point of time as well, but the quality may be compromised or the quality may be different. The format style may be different. So why the client should come to you? The client can directly get the work done from some other CA as well, who is present locally in Delhi, right? So this is actually one of the benefits of networking again. The next point is interesting. It says that growing clients can stay. Now, what do we mean by this? Let's say you have a client, okay, and he's also your friend. He has just come to you. He does not have much of a business idea, but he wants to do something. So you tell him, okay, fine, start a business. I will help you to grow. I will take care of the compliances, whatever is the need, like whatever is the business structure, how should be the business plan. I will advise you on each of the things, the cost reduction techniques. I will help you in that as well. So you help the client. Okay, the client in the first year maybe earns 1 lakh rupees. Okay, you do not charge your fees at that point of time, thinking that okay, he is my friend, and also he does not have much of the revenue at this point of time. I will defer my fees and I will charge it at a later point. Okay, maybe after 2 to 3 years the client grows. Okay, he's working fine, and his turnover might be raises to 10 lakh. You think that okay, now he's earning 10 lakhs, let me charge a decent amount of fees. So you charge him a decent amount of fees, but you do not charge him a good amount, because you think that now also he does not have sufficient fees. He comes to you and say that they are this expense or that expense, so he do not charge a higher fees. You just charge a decent amount. Okay, after a few years, it may so happen that your client now becomes a big shot. Yes, it is a very good news for you, right? Your client who was from you from the day one has now become a big shot, and he's now his revenue is 1,000 crores. Okay, and maybe he is in the process of listing, and now you think that now is the right time when I'll be charging this client. Now I'll be charging whatever the fees I want, should be my as per my services. Okay, what happens now? The client has already moved to a bigger CA. Now, was it that the client thinks that you're not a good CA? No, it was not so. The client certainly believes in you. The client certainly respects you, but he also knows that you have certain limitations, because once your client becomes a multi-city, multi-presence in India, you cannot serve his needs, right? You cannot go to Delhi and do audit for him, or you cannot go to Mumbai and do audit for him, because everything comes with an expense, and therefore he moves to a bigger CA. Okay, it is neither your fault nor his. But what if where you're part of a network which has its presence already pan India? So at that point of time, the client may not have moved, because you can say to your client that I am already a part of network which is across pan India. You want to get the work done from Pune, I will get it done. You want to get the work done from Mumbai, I will get it done, because you have a network. You have network partners over there, and this would help you to keep the client with you. Yes. So this is again one of the benefits of networking. The next point is scaling up of practice. So as we can see, all the above points, this ultimately actually helps you in scaling up your practice, because you are ultimately providing a better quality of deliverables to your client at a very minimal cost. You are providing multi-city practice. You are establishing multi-city practice, multi-state practice. You are having common branding. Your knowledge base is also increasing, and therefore you can say that all this will definitely help you in scaling up your practice. Okay, and last benefit, I would say that it does not result in loss of identity. this is the biggest factor for most of us, that once we become a part of network, maybe our identity lose, maybe our firm is no more there. It does not happen, because your network, even you are a part of that network. So there is no loss of identity. Your individual practice will remain intact. In addition to that, you will be a part of network which will be able to give you bigger benefits. Okay, so there is no loss of identity in case of network, that you can be just not to worry about. Okay, so these are some of the benefits actually, and there are multiple benefits, believe me, once you get into networking, and you can explore more and more opportunities. Now that we have understood what is networking, the different benefits, and formal and informal, let us understand the different models of networking. Now, basically, if I would say, there are three models of networking. Okay, the first is the alliance model. The second is network model part 1. The third is the lead form model. Okay, now let me give you a brief about these three models. Starting with the alliance model. Alliance model is the first step towards entering into networking. Okay, so let's say there are 4 CA firms, okay, or maybe 4 friends. They have set up their individual practice. Okay, and since they are new CAs, they do not have the benefit of getting into empanelment, or they do not have the benefit of telling to people that they are multi-city, or they do not have the infrastructure to set up their offices in multi-city. So what they can do, they can get into an alliance, or they can form a alliance sort of structure, where what will happen, their individual practice will remain intact. So if I am a CA and I have my own practice with my own name, I do not have to let go of that. My firm remains my firm. In addition to that, I will become a part of alliance, which will have its presence in multiple cities. Okay, so this is basically a type of informal network that we all have done, but it comes with a registration and it becomes a formal network. So this is the first step. So anybody who does not want to just lose control of their firm, but want to take benefit of togetherness, want to take benefit of the strength, they can get into the alliance model. In this kind of model, they will keep working on their own, in their own style. If they do not have to interfere in another firm, but they will also be getting the benefit of having multi-city presence. They can showcase it to your client, showcase it to their client that they have multi-city presence. So this is the alliance model. Okay, talking about the network model, this is basically a much more concrete or rigid form of alliance model. So even in this model, your individual practice will remain intact. There will be no harm to that. But here you will be getting the benefit of entering into a network. Okay. So once you get into a network, you have to establish certain working procedures which shall be common for all the network partners. Okay, you have to establish certain format which all the network partners have to follow, certain engagement letters format which all the network partners have to follow, so that ultimately your client can believe that you are a part of network. So in alliance model and network model, the basic difference is this, that in alliance model, you don't have to change your working style or your format or anything. If you want, you can change, but there is no such kind of mandation. Okay, it is not mandatory. But in case of network model, since you are a part of network, you have to follow certain common rules, common working procedures, common format, and only after following this you can establish as one big unit. Okay, coming to a lead form model, it is a again broader form of network model. So in lead form model, the only difference is that your individual practice here also will remain same, but the naming shall be after a lead firm. So let's say if there are 10 persons or 10 CA firms, out of those 10 CA firms, they have to decide that okay, firm A shall be the lead firm. Okay, we have appointed firm A as the lead firm, so the name shall be after firm A, and empanelment rights also will be of firm A. We will lose our empanelment right, but it is not so in the case of network model or alliance model. Okay, so this is just a brief understanding about alliance models, network model, and lead firm model. Let us see the comparison of the three models. The first comparison is with respect to the name. Now, in case of alliance model, the name shall be ABCD. Might be, let's say again, there are four firms, A and company, B and company, C and company, D and company. So your name can be either ABCD, the initials, okay, or you have to add the suffix and alliance. Okay, the name also can be other than ABCD. There are a set of naming guidelines. You can obviously go through that. It is available in ICAI website. So only as per those naming guidelines, you have to name your net alliance, but you can also add and alliance to your alliance name. Okay, so this is the alliance model naming structure. In case of network model, you have to add the suffix either and affiliates or network. So your name can be ABCD and affiliates or ABCD network. In case of lead firm model, as we have already discussed, the name shall be after the lead firm. So if your lead firm is, let's say, A and company, the name shall be A and company and affiliates or A and company network. Okay, so this is with respect to the name difference. The next point, let's see. All of these models, basically the alliance model, network model, lead firm model, has to be registered with ICAI, because until and unless it's registered, it is not a registered network. It is just an informal network. So you have to register it with ICAI. And once you get registered, you will be allotted a unique number. Just like in case of the firm registration, you get the firm registration number. So similarly, in case of the alliance model, you will be getting the alliance registration number. And in case of the network model or lead firm model, you will be getting the network registration number. Okay. Now, next point, we can see the bylaws. Now, what is bylaws? First, let us understand that. Now, bylaws are basically certain rules and regulations that have to be followed by the firm. Like maybe who shall be the admin of the network, or who shall look after the network, what shall be the policies of the network, what shall be the working guidelines of the network, what shall be the format of the network. So these things have to be mentioned in the bylaws. Okay, and it has to be very well defined so that in future no dispute arises. Now, this bylaws is not mandatory in case of alliance model. So alliance model are free to operate on their own in their own style as they were working previously. It is not mandatory, but if they want, they can obviously follow some common guidelines, some common format if they want. But if there is not a unanimous decision, they can continue to work in their own manner. Okay, so alliance model is a very flexible model. In case of alliance, in case of network model and the lead firm model, the bylaws remains mandatory. So from the day one, you have to write and mention every clauses, every rules and regulations that you want in your network to be followed. It has to be very clear so that no dispute arises, and in the long run, the network or the lead firm model can function effectively. And this internal agreement or the bylaws, you have to submit it to the ICAI before seeking registration. So this is a must. Okay. The next point we can see is accountability and disciplinary action. Now, what do we mean by this? Let's say you are a part of a network which has 10 CA firms. Okay. And one of the CA firm has violated certain code of ethics, and certain disciplinary action has to be taken. Now, you may ask me that since only one firm has violated the ethics, does that mean that whole network shall be responsible for it? The answer is no. And it is very logical as well. Because if one person has committed a mistake, why should everyone bear the fruits of it? Right? So, same is what ICAI also believes. So, if one person who has done a mistake, it is not that everyone has to suffer because of that. And that is the reason why from day one, you should have the division of work very well documented. So, let's say if you're working on any assignment, you can simply say that, okay, this is the assignment that we have got. and only firm A or firm B is working on this assignment. Other firms are not responsible. So in future, if any violation occurs, only firm A and firm B shall be responsible. That is deemed. So that is the reason why division of work has to be well documented. And the same in case of all the three models. Okay. The next thing that we can see, conflict. Conflict exists in all the three models. Now, what do we mean by conflict? We know that we as CAs have certain basic principles that we need to follow. Yes, the first is integrity, the second is competence, and the third is independence. Amongst others, obviously, there are many other principles. So these three are important ones. Now, can we compromise our integrity? Definitely not. Can we compromise our competence? No. We are meant to be competent enough to do the work. So how can we compromise our independence? And by independence, I mean that it is said, if you are a statutory auditor of a company, you will not take the non-audit works of that company because it will affect your independence in doing the statutory audit. So same is the case in case of the network model or the alliance models. Okay. So if in your network, let's say one person is a statutory auditor of so and so company, other network partners cannot take up the non-audit works. Okay, you cannot play with this rule and take up the benefits, but you have to be smart enough and work within the guidelines. Okay, so you cannot so it simply means that if one person is a statutory auditor of Reliance in your network, you cannot take the internal audit or any other non-audit work of Reliance till you're part of that network. Okay, and also rotation of auditor also applies to these models. So it will not happen that if one of your network partners is an auditor, after the expiry of the audit period, the other network partners takes up the audit. So that is not allowed. Rotation of audit has to be followed amongst the whole network. Okay. Reconstitution. Now, in case of alliance model, as I've already said, it is a very flexible model. So any firm can join or exit the alliance at any given point of time. There is no restriction. Okay, it is very flexible. But in case of the network model and the lead firm model, it is a little bit rigid. So whatever is mentioned in the internal agreement or the bylaws, you have to follow that. So let's say if in the internal agreement it is written that every firm has to remain minimum for 2 years. You cannot exit the network or the lead firm before that time. Okay, you have to follow the internal agreement. Coming to the third point, which says exit and closure. Now, alliance model and the network model, it is very easier to quit. And now you may ask me that what if we have got a work in the name of the alliance and the network, and one of the firm leaves during the process of execution of that work? Will the work also go? The answer is no. If you have got any work in the name of the alliance or the network, the work shall remain within the alliance or network, even if any partner or the network partner or alliance partner leaves. So your work shall not be affected. Okay. But in case of lead firm model, you may ask that since the work here is in the name of the lead firm will lead firm have a certain advantage that the lead firm, after getting the work, leaves the model, and the work also goes with him and the revenue also goes with him. That shall be a bane, right? So that is not allowed. So if a lead firm exits the lead firm model, what will happen? Before leaving, the lead firm has to share the revenue with the network partners. Okay. And to give effect to this point, you can write a clause in the agreement with respect to this. So this is actually something that you can mention in the internal agreement. Talking about the next point, which is empanelment. Now, this is something which people are actually worried about, that what will happen to our empanelment status, because most of the people, I would say, rely on the ICAI PDC audit works. Yes, whatever works, audit works they get from there, they rely on that. So they are very much worried about this thing, and I will address it. Don't worry. So in case of alliance model, it's, as I said, it's very flexible. Your independent empanelment will remain yours. You can continue to take the independent empanelment for how long as you want. There shall be no change to that. Even in the case of network model, there shall be no change to that. But if in the internal agreement something else is mentioned that this firm will not take the independent empanelment, or we as a firm shall not take, only one firm shall take. So that is a different concept. But other than that, every independent firm can continue to take the empanelment as they are doing before. Okay. In the case of lead firm model, empanelment shall be in the name of the lead firm. Okay. And once the lead firm applies for empanelment, the other firms definitely loses their right to empanel. Okay. And let me just tell you that in the case of network model and lead firm model, ICI is in the process and is in the talks to give recognition to the network model and lead firm model in the empanelment status. So if let's say in network model, there are 10 CA firms, and in all together they have 20 CA partners or maybe 30 CA partners. So they are in the process that the in the empanelment process, the credits will be given for each of the 30 CA partners. This is not actually working in process right now, but it is something that ICI is working upon in the longer run. So this is about the comparison of the three models, and there are certain common points that we can keep in mind, that you can only become a part of one alliance or one network at any given point of time. Okay, so it cannot be that you are becoming a part of two alliances or one alliance and one network. So that is not allowed. Okay, the second point that is to be kept in mind is that, and that is very beautifully crafted, let me say, by the ICA members, that if you are going into a lead firm model, you should always keep in mind, and it is actually mentioned in the guidelines, that the lead firm shall not be other than any Indian CA firm. So it simply means that the control should be within India, and that is the ultimate goal as well. That if the power goes outside India, then it is of no use, because we already have big force for that. So the control should be within India, and we should be aiming to make a bigger structure. So that is the reason why it is mentioned that in the case of lead firm, the lead firm should only be from India, and it should be only from Indian CA firms. Okay. Now the third point that you have to keep in mind, that who can become the partners in the alliance model or the network model or the lead firm model. Only a person who is holding COP and a firm registration number. Okay. So let's say you have a COP, but you have not formed any firm, or you do not have a firm registration. You have just taken the COP. So can you become a partner in any of the models? The answer is no. You have to have a firm to become the partners in any of the models. Okay. So this is again something that you have to keep in mind. And there are certain set of common rules that you have to follow, like you can prepare a common balance sheet, okay, for the models, so that you can understand how the network is functioning. You can mention in the bylaws certain referral structure, and there can be different structures for these networks, like you can decide that okay, from one area we will only take one partner, and or maybe from one expertise area we will have three partners. Okay, so this is something that these can be different kinds of structure that you can frame for your network or alliance. So this is all upon you, what kind of network you want to form, what kind of lead firm you want to form. So this should be actually very well decided from the day one. Coming to some frequently asked questions. So the first question that people mostly ask is this: can I undertake statutory audit of banks once I enter into a network? So the answer to this is both yes and no. Yes and no. Why I'm saying this? See, there's certain difference between central statutory auditor and statutory auditor. Okay. So let's say you have entered into a network. Okay. And in your network, one of your network partners is a central statutory auditor of maybe Punjab National Bank. Okay. So in that kind of scenario, obviously independence rule applies, and other network partners cannot take any branch audit or concurrent audit or internal audit of Punjab National Bank thereafter. But if none of the network partners is a central statutory auditor, then you are free to take the branch audit or statutory audit or concurrent audit or internal audit as a matter of fact. Okay, so this is something that you have to keep in mind. The next question is, will the experience of one firm be counted for another firm in network? Now, let us first understand this question. Let's say in your network, one person has an experience of maybe doing the audit of some insurance company. Okay, one person has an experience of doing the audit of maybe World Bank. One person has an experience of dealing only in listed company audits, and one person is there who has just formed and does not have such experiences of any such multinational company audits. So the fourth CA firm who does not have these kind of experience, can he write in his work profile that I have experience in dealing in audit of insurance companies or World Bank or listed companies? Can he write down in his profile? No, it is not right, not ethically right, and not practically right. So this is something that is not allowed. But when you are a part of network, you can certainly write in your network profile that your network partners have the experience of being an auditor of the insurance company, being an auditor of World Bank, being an auditor of the listed companies. You can write in your network profile and you can showcase it to your clients. Okay, but you cannot do it on your own basis. Okay, now the next question that we can see is how much cost is required to form a network. Now let me just say that the cost is very negligible and it is flexible. Okay, now whenever you form a firm, in case of ICI, what is the cost that you have to incur? If you are forming a partnership firm, you have to incur the cost to make a partnership firm, the registration process. If you're forming the LLP, then you have to incur the cost to form a LLP, the registration process and everything. And if you're forming a proprietorship, then no such cost is required. And so same is the case of network. If you're forming the network, the registration cost shall be the first thing. If you want to build up a website, that shall be the cost. If you want to take up a software, that shall be the cost. If you want to take up any server, virtual servers, that shall be the cost. Now these are again very flexible. Whatever services you want to take, like if you're taking up a website, you have to incur cost for that. But if you're not taking any of these things, you're just forming a network, then the cost shall be only of the registration cost, and even that cost shall be divided equally amongst the network partners. So it is very negligible cost, and it you for the upcoming network partners, you can keep a membership fees form of structure. So let's say there are 4 founding partners of your network. Okay, so the 4 founding partners will incur the initial cost equally. They will divide it amongst themselves, and they can decide it accordingly that if any CA firm joins the network at a later point of time, this shall be the membership fees for maybe a smaller firm. This shall be the membership fee for maybe a mediocre size firm, and this shall be the membership fee for maybe a larger firm. So on the basis of this, you can decide the membership fee structure basis for your network. Now this is again very flexible. This is upon you what kind of structure you want to build, and what do you think will be suitable for all of you. Okay, the next question, it states that how shall it benefit to a small town CA? Now I'm sure that many of the people from this webinar may be from the small town places. Okay, so you may have this question that how will it benefit to you? Now there are ample benefits to a small town CA as well. Let us understand this. Let's say you're in a small town. Okay, when you enter into a network, what will happen, that you will be getting the experience, the exposure of a firm which is in a multi-city or in a metro city, maybe from Mumbai. You will be getting to understand their working style. You will be getting to understand their working procedures. Okay, and it may so happen that in your expertise or in your practice time, you may encounter certain doubts which you're not able to handle on your own. You can simply take knowledge, experience of the other partners who are in the metro cities and get the work done. So this will definitely help the small town CAs as well, because they will be ultimately able to provide better services to their client who are in their town, and the services quality shall be of the metropolitan areas as well. So this is something that you can just take note of. So these are some of the frequently asked questions which are usually asked in most of the webinars. So this brings me to my end of my presentation, and let me just say that my main motive today was to make you understand what is networking and why you should form a network. And after understanding, I want at least some of the participants to come forward to decide and build up this kind of network or alliance, whatever suits them, because ultimately we should be aiming to grow bigger, because आजकल एक दिन से कुछ नहीं होते. We have to become, we have to take support, we have to contribute to each other, and this is the only way how we can grow. And if anyone who is interested to learn more about networking, or they want to undertake or get into any network, they can obviously mail it to me, or they can obviously send me a message in my number. It is reflected in this slide, and I will be happy to help you. So thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you so much, Raksha ma'am. It was such a nice session. Now I guess all of our professionals will be having a brief idea about what is networking, what is the need of networking, type of networking, and what are the benefits if they come together and form a network, and what are the models so that they can handpick their success model. So that is really, really a necessity for each and every of the professionals. So it was an packet of success, knowledgeable session, ma'am. It was full of learning and it was really perfectly executed. So I hope there are so many beneficiaries from today's webinar, and I hope all you might now be learned about what actually networking is, and you all will be working together to accomplish the dream of Modi ji, and also recommendation of Raksha ji, and form a network firm. So okay, so due to some paucity of time, questions are not be able to taken. So please, to all the professionals, keep your questions on hold, because we have this webinar for 3 days. Your questions will definitely be answered, so don't worry about that. And I also hope, Raksha ma'am, we collaborate again in future, so that we get this opportunity to interact with you again. It was such an intellectual session once again. Thank you so much. And to all the participants who missed today's webinar, don't worry, you can go and just watch it on our Optotex YouTube channel. It is available there. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for regular updates. Please stay connected, keep using Optotex, be safe, adhere to social distancing. Let's fight Corona together. Bye-bye and good night, all of you. Thank you, Raksha ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rohit, and thank you so much, Optotex, for inviting me. It was really nice to interact with you, and I'm sure that we'll be connecting in future as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.